Have you ever had one of those moments? A moment of pure, unadulterated victory, where everything you've been fighting for finally clicks into place. You feel that huge, shoulders-dropping sigh of relief. You did it. You won. And then, not even 5 minutes later, a tiny, nagging voice whispers in the back of your head, "Okay, now don't mess it up." If you've ever felt that, then you know exactly what's going on in Jon Stewart's head right now. This week, Democrats and voters who are just plain tired of the political chaos had a reason to celebrate. It felt, for a moment, like a massive wave of common sense had washed over the country. We saw huge, landscape-changing victories in key races. In New York City, Zoran Mamdani pulled off a massive win for mayor. In New Jersey, voters rejected the Trump-endorsed candidate and kept Democrats like Mickey Sherrill in power. In Virginia, Abigail Spanberger made history as the first woman to lead the state, a huge message sent from an area full of federal workers who have felt the squeeze. Even in California, voters approved a new congressional map designed to give Democrats a fighting chance to reclaim more seats in the House next year. It was a win. It was a rebuke of President Donald Trump. It was, as Jon Stewart himself called it, amazing. But he's Jon Stewart, and he's not popping the champagne. On Thursday's episode of the Weekly Show podcast, Stewart sat down with MSNBC's Chris Hayes and former Obama campaign manager David Plouffe, and he basically said what every single one of us is secretly thinking. He looked at these amazing victories, took a deep breath, and essentially asked the million-dollar question, how will they squander it? How? How will it all go to? How will they put this away? It's the question that cuts right to the heart of the anxiety so many feel. It's one thing to win a battle, it's another thing to win the war. And Stewart, ever the concerned and skeptical observer, isn't convinced the party has what it takes to see this through. Chris Hayes, ever the analyst, tried to break it down logically. Look, he said, I think there's basically 3 elements to the victories. He explained that the first part is what political nerds call thermostatic public opinion. Basically, when one party, the GOP, in this case, has the White House, the other party, the Democrats, tends to get a boost in off-year elections. People are just naturally pushing back against whoever is in charge. Then you've got like, Donald Trump is really unpopular. Hayes added, before Stewart hilariously jumped in with a sarcastic, how dare you? Hayes continued, how can I say this? They're going to cancel me. You know, he's at 39%. The national mood is dyspeptic and disgruntled. The third layer, Hayes argued, is the part Democrats can actually control. Candidate recruitment, messaging, campaigns. And he gives them credit. I think that's the place you're talking about how they're going to screw it up, or how are they going to build on it. And I think they did a lot that was right last night. But Stewart wasn't buying the tidy, 3-point explanation. His worry goes deeper. I think the Democrats are still a mess, Stewart said, cutting through the optimism. I truly believe they're a mess. His point, and it's a powerful one, is that these victories aren't necessarily because the Democratic Party is a well-oiled machine. It's because the people are rising up. What this shows to me is, again, there is this underlying potential energy within the United States of America that is much larger than I think any of us could have imagined. That's the core of it. Stewart sees this massive, bubbling well of energy, of frustration, of hope, of a desire for change, and he's terrified that the Democratic Party, as an institution, is just going to stand there and look at it instead of actually doing something with it. Channeling that energy directionally will be the challenge for whoever wants to harness it, he warned. I still don't believe they're doing that. David Plouffe, the guy who literally harnessed that exact kind of energy for Barack Obama, chimed in. He agreed that a year is a long time, but he's already looking ahead to the 2026 midterm elections. He thinks the political atmosphere for Democrats should be just as good, if not better. Why? It's not just Trump. It's that they're in complete control and people are dissatisfied, right? For Plouffe, it all comes down to the ground game. He stressed that the quality of the candidate is always the most important thing, and that Democrats need to be maximizing the critique against your Republican opponent as much as you can. The entire conversation is a perfect snapshot of this bizarre political moment. We just saw voters hand the president a series of stunning personal defeats. Trump, of course, couldn't stay quiet. He immediately took to Truth Social with a defensive, all-caps tantrum. Trump PVOASNT on the ballot. He raged, conveniently ignoring that he had endorsed and rallied for the very candidates who lost. But he saved his most direct venom for New York. After Zoran Mamdani won the mayoral race, Trump, who has threatened to withhold federal funding from the city, posted a chillingly simple message, and so it begins. It was a threat, plain and simple. But this is where we get back to Jon Stewart's potential energy. While Stewart is worried the party will squander the moment, the new leaders who won this week don't seem to be in a squandering mood. In his victory speech, Mamdani didn't just ignore the president's threat. He looked right into the camera, knowing full well who was watching, and delivered an all-time classic line. "Donald Trump, since I know you're watching," Mamdani said with a defiant confidence, "I have 4 words for you: turn the volume up." Maybe that's the answer to Stewart's fears. Maybe the mess he sees in the party leadership is being fixed from the ground up, by new, fearless voices who aren't asking for permission to fight back. Stewart is right to be worried. It's a healthy, necessary skepticism. But after a week like this, and with responses like that, you can't help but feel that maybe, just maybe, this time is different.